What's going on? Mike Obits. Obits. Okay. Obits NT underscore. Okay. What's going on, yo? It's Living Springs. Bang, bang, bang. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Thanks for joining. What's up, Mimi? What's up, Akin? How you doing?
Thank you.
Happy Thursday to everybody. Thursday evening. So today I'm talking with Mike Fash. Mike Fash is he's from New York. Surulere made join. Shout out to Surulere. What's up, Lydia? What's up, Mama? How you doing? Lockdown. Man. I don't know. That's a loaded question. How are you holding up this lockdown? I guess we're just there. We're keeping busy. This is part of what I'm doing during the lockdown. Just talk to my peers, talk to friends, talk to a lot of folks in entertainment. See what everybody's up to, see what they're working on. So that's something that I've been doing, and then just working. Continue to work from home as much as I can during this time. Yes. Well, somebody's sending a request, but so today anyway, I'm doing this with Mike Fash today, Orbit Entertainment from New York, also. Also, Millie, I can say it is a serious case, very very serious, very serious. Anyway, so one of the things that I've been doing is just talking with different people, with entertainment backgrounds, specifically those that are based in the U.S., and at the same time try talking with some of our colleagues that are in Nigeria also. Shout out to Oyeni Brand joining us also. Everybody, please check out Oyeni Brand. I posted one of their shoes on my story, so you can check it out. Love the shoes. They have boxes, all this good stuff. So big up. Hey, what's up, Mama? Our doctor's in the building. You should be helping us at this time. You need to call me. We need to be giving away free masks and sanitizers and stuff like that. Oh man. Yes. Isaac Orbit. So yeah, let me make sure he's able to join us. Well, that he's not having any issues. We're ready. Yes, thank you too. Yeah, so it's very very important for everybody to support each other as much as we can, especially during this time. Like everybody's doing so many different things. So I personally try not to talk about the virus as much as I can, just because I have children, and that's the last thing I want to be talking with the kids. It's all over the place. It's on the news. It's everywhere. So I try to stay away from it. Of course, I check the news just in case there's an evacuation process or anything like that, just to make sure that I'm updated. But other than that, just keeping safe, doing all the healthy things that you're supposed to be doing on a normal day anyway, even without COVID. Just try to do that. So make sure everything is good. So other than that, yes, that's it really. Tola, what's up, Tola? How you doing? Doku, what's going on? Yeah. So anyway, so I'm just waiting for Obi to join us. He just sent me a message. So once he joins, I want to get this started. Just to talk to him. You know, he's been in the game in New York for a long time. He's currently the manager for one of the Nigerian artists, King Wasiu Ayinde. So yeah. So Sauce Kid interview is going to be right after the one that I'm about to do. So Sauce Kid interview is in an hour's time. So I'll be talking with him about what he's been up to really, what are his plans. He just dropped an album also. And, you know, basically see what's going on. Okay, so Orbit is with us. Shout out to Dio. Okay, so let's see if we can bring you in, Pain. Go live. Let's do this. What's going on? What's going on, bro? Our general is in the building, man. Honorable Dio is in the building. Dio Israel. Thank you so much, brother. Hey, what's going on, bro?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. You know, we can barely see your face, right? Like, okay, okay. You in the car?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You gotta excuse my look.
No. It's cool. Please, man. So long as we're healthy, we're here. That's really all that matters. You know
Exactly.
what I mean? So
Exactly.
yeah, there. So are you in New York or you're out of town?
No, I'm out of town.
You're out of town. Okay, cool. I always ask people, especially because depending where you were when the lockdown happened, you know what I mean? So you could be anywhere, really. You know? Yeah, man. So I'm glad we're able to do this and finally catch up, you know. Lydia's like, yo, Mike Fash. You know, shout out to, so for everybody, for my people, this is Mike Fash, All Beats Entertainment CEO. Shout out to Zimo in the building also. Artist promotion, development and management, event organizations, concerts and live performances, live sound, lighting and staging, tour management.
Everything music related.
Everything music related. And then, you know, you've been, I wanted to talk to you because for me, it's very important to talk to a lot of the people that has been, you know, doing this for a long time. You know, you're not a small boy in this business, right? You've been on this for a long time. So quickly, can you give us a background on yourself? Just a quick background in terms of, just you, like growing up, Nigeria, the US movement. Then we take it from there, really. I won't dwell on it too much, but at least quickly, yeah.
Okay. Basically, I was born and raised here in America.
Okay.
A lot of people are surprised to hear that, but yeah, yes. I was born and raised in America. I only started going down to Nigeria not too long ago, and it's because of the interest that I had in the culture, the interest that I had in the music, the interest that I had in connecting back with my roots. So my dad is a pastor, and the musical calling came from my church.
Okay.
I was a church boy.
Yes.
And going from the drums to the keyboards to everything I played, my foundation and the roots was from the church.
Exactly. I was going to talk about it. I think when I see people that come from that background, like playing instrument, church, the passion that you have is so much more different. You know, it's like it's definitely from a place of love. You know?
Definitely from the church. And another thing
that Honorable Dio said a lot of greatness can be traced to the church.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Most of the, surprisingly, a lot of, including Michael Jackson, Tina Turner, a lot of people that actually made it big had a foundation from the church. The only thing is that these people, they tapped into a higher calling where they were able to reach more people.
Yes.
In an unrestricted and unlimited way. So that's why I feel that a church is definitely a foundation for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
Now, don't mind, a lot of people don't mind this. Like, I'm not old. It's just that
Yeah.
I started this calling at a young age.
Yeah.
My first the first artist that I played with was back in 1995, and that was Ebenezer Obey. I actually toured with him, and then
Okay.
I was a teenager. So then one thing kept leading to another. I went from Obey to Ayuba. I went from Ayuba to Obesity. These are all traditional artists international artists that used to come to America to tour.
Okay.
So I always had this passion that I always wanted to be on the music scene. Always.
How did you
So
get hooked up on the very first one in terms of
okay.
Obey and stuff? Yeah.
Obey.
By the way, I did said you say you're old. He said you old.
So with Obey, it was through a church. They were doing an audition for bass players. So I was called to come and play bass, and I made it.
Okay.
Back then I was still like I was a little kid. And Obey looked at me like, Omar, like, are you still in school? Like, and I told him that, I mean, I've been following your music since I was a baby. So, and it just kept going from that. That's as a musician. All this time, I'm not even talking about doing shows. This is just as an instrumentalist. Now,
Okay.
the show part came in when I started to notice that most of the promoters back then, I wouldn't call them local promoters, but they
Yes.
weren't doing the best that could have been done in their capacity. So now I took it up. This is back in 2003 or 2002. I can't remember. So I registered a promotion company. I actually registered a sound company. I started with sound.
Sound. All right.
I'm a certified engineer. I went to school for it. I have a degree in sound production. So
All right.
I started with sound, and the sound is what I use to infiltrate. Sorry. The sound was what I used to infiltrate the industry back then. Then I started noticing that the shows started having great production, great sound, but poor promotion. So now I was stuck that, okay, I'm doing sound. Now I have to wear another hat and get into promotion. So I had to leave the sound and start getting into promotion. And it just kept going from there. I kept meeting different people. But then I didn't want to make the same mistake the people before me were making. So I actually invested. I started going to conferences. I started going to seminars. I started going to workshops to learn what are the basics and the principles of doing shows. So, like, and I see that it's not enough to just do something that you have a passion with, but it's even better if you do it correctly. So, if you want to be whatever it is that you want to be, having better information and better knowledge about that subject makes you more valuable than the next person. It's not necessarily a competition, but it's like saying someone that has a passion to argue sitting next to someone that's a lawyer. The only difference is the lawyer actually has a degree. So they're certified to be in that field. So I've done almost every genre. I've done gospel, I've done juju, I've done Fuji, I've done traditional music, and now, I mean, what seems to be trending now is Afro beats and Afro pop.
Before we go there, let me ask you this, right? At that point, like you making the transition from an instrumentalist and then studying sound engineering and taking on the seminar, what were some of the challenges you saw at the very initial stage?
Okay. Coming from my background, coming from my
Shout
African...
out to Moose. Moose is in the building.
Big Moose, Baba Moose.
Yes.
So coming from my African background, the first challenge was trying to merge the best of the both worlds. Was trying to bring the Western principles and ways of doing things and merging it with how we Africans could get into the scene. That was my first challenge, because we Africans, we used to doing things a certain way, and it's not necessarily the wrong way, it's just our way.
Oh, yeah.
Then you have the right way of doing things, which is the proper way. So the challenge is trying to merge the two together and coming out with something better. And when we see how far we've come over the years, we're definitely getting there.
Yeah.
It could be much better, but we're definitely getting there.
Yeah. Would you say that you coming from the church, having that training, that background, was that part of the reason you ended up working with a lot of the Yoruba artists? Was that a conscious decision?
I would say it was by default, because back then when I was younger, the Yoruba, the older generation musicians like King Sunny Ade, Obey, Alhaji Barrister were most of the people that were touring America back then. So those are most of the artists I was keen to be seeing all the time. I met Osadi Bey once.
Yes. Okay.
He's an Igbo legend. I met Majek Fashek, but those are still more like Yoruba artists. I worked with Majek Fashek, but it was mostly the Yoruba ones. The Igbos didn't start. I mean, when you talk about prominent Igbo artists, then you talk about people like Flavor, and that's like a whole nother generation.
Correct. Around that time, it wasn't a lot, especially that was coming to the US.
No, it was mostly Yorubas. No Hausas, no Igbo. They were mostly Yorubas. Yorubas. And I think that's because the promoters that were doing those shows themselves were Yorubas also.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. So at that time, right, how did you go about, like, say, you knew you wanted to do this, right? So at what point did you say, you know what, I can really make a business out of this?
Wait, out of the show promotion or out of what?
Out of the show promotion.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, now, moving forward, there was a man that he was like the godfather of all shows back then. I'm talking about back in 1997, 1996, 97, 98. His name was Demola Udefeso.
Okay.
He was like the godfather of all promotions back then. So it was broken into two. Back then, you had the indigenous promotion, which was Demola Udefeso doing his thing with like Wasiu, Barrister, Obesity. Yeah. Then you had like that was when like the Nigerian what was they called? Nigerian Youth Organization. Then you have Moose. Like you have Moose on the other side, who was dealing with more the Americanized Nigerians, meaning the Nigerians that were here, based here. Okay. So Demola Udefeso was doing for the older crowd, and the likes of Moose back then. Then you had Jerry, what was their name again?
Aria. Yes.
It was Moose. Yes. It was Aria Entertainment back then, and they were dealing with more of the colleges.
Yes.
They were dealing more with the colleges.
School and
exactly.
Like that.
So you had the older parents going to Barrister and Wasiu. Then you had their kids going to the Nigerian reunion. So and back then it was huge. Yeah. Back then the reunion used to pull back like between 10,000 to 15,000 people strong. Yeah. So you had like the Old Testament and the New Testament. I was more with the old school.
Yes.
And then you had the people like in Brooklyn, Manhattan, Harlem that were doing the new school. So the both of them were coming along together. It was just two different sceneries altogether. Back then, you had the older people doing the Money Spring kind of shows that are like 8 hours long. Then you had people like Moose doing the parties. They were doing like the club parties and the club scenes.
Yeah. So, like, tell me the registration. So, when did you register? Like, because the first registration you did was for the sound, right? Yeah. Was that for Orbit on the Orbit also, or under a different name?
My first company was back in 1999. That was I was doing sound. That was my first sound company in 1999. It wasn't registered. I had a passion to do sound and mix. Yeah. Then in 2002, That was when I registered Orbit Audio. I had a whole production company back then. Then in 2004, that was when I registered Orbit Entertainment. So logically speaking, my company now is 16 years old. I've been doing it for 16 years now.
Yes, yes. So, like, I mean, you know, taking the experience, right,
Mm-hmm.
from back then, right? If you knew everything that you do right now, 10 years ago, right? What are some of the things that you would have done differently?
Oh my gosh, I would have done a whole bunch differently. I would have done a whole bunch differently. When I started the show promotion in 2004, right? My first artist, international artist, was Ayefele back then, when he was hot.
Yeah.
And I wanted to, you see, the whole point of me establishing that business is because I wanted to bring something different. I wanted to bring something that was in between what the old people were doing, but was right above what the youth were doing. So something like the middle age.
Okay.
You know, I couldn't, back then there was no DeVito, there was no Whiskey, there was none of that. So it was either you're dancing to the old kind of music, or then you're just doing hip hop, American hip hop.
American hip hop, yeah.
The only people we had back then was like Two-Face and like Plantation Boys, and they
Tony
weren't that big.
Those guys wasn't, yeah. Tony Tetula, it wasn't too many of them.
Exactly. So back then, I was just trying to do something different. That, you know what? Let me create a bridge where the old people could come, and then the youth, or then like the middle-aged people that go to church also could find something different to do. And that was what started Orbit Entertainment.
So for you, like now, right? I think when I look at it, you know, my experience and a lot of the events that I've been a part of, right? You know, sound sometimes is a mess, right? So, you know, so for you, right, coming into the game, having that background from the church, from engineering, how important was that in terms of the events that you were doing?
That's a good question. And that was one of the reasons why I chose to go into sound production, because, like I said, we had our way, we had the African way of doing things, and we had the correct way of doing things. Now, one aspect that really lacked in a lot of the events that I was seeing was sound production. Like, and I think it still even happens to this day. Like, we put too much focus on, like, okay, let's pay the artist $1 million. Let's get the best venue. But then the way I look at it is that people, in order for people to come out their house to pay a ticket to come to an event, you're giving them an experience. You're giving them something that, okay, why would I come out my house to come and attend an event when I could watch it on YouTube? So the way I look at it is that everything of that event matters, and sound production is one of the most important things. Okay, now for instance, last week, right? Babyface and Teddy Riley were supposed to do this same thing I'm doing with you. And what messed it up? The sound.
Sound, man, yeah.
So
shout out to Mike, man. Mike says sound is everything.
Yeah, so I think no one wants to go to an event to listen to their artist and then the sound is bad, because you can, at times you can't tell sound that's better than other sound, but you can tell sound that's bad.
Absolutely.
You can tell when production is bad.
Yeah.
So I think when people come out to an event to pay to watch an event, you're selling them an experience. You're selling them, they want to go away with something that, you know what, even though I've heard Flavor, I've heard DeVito perform on YouTube, but now the way I'm looking at this experience, this is something that I know that after today, it would never be the same.
Of course. Shout out to Conga, man. Conga's in the building. I got to shout him out. Conga, man. That's our legend in the building. Cool. So, like, let's talk about this, right? How profitable is the business, in your opinion? Like, taking it from what you knew, what you were doing back then,
Mm-hmm.
So what is happening today in 2020 from your standpoint? How
Okay.
profitable? Yeah.
Are we talking about the sound business or the promotion business?
Oh, both. Both. Yeah.
Um, to be honest, I think I think African culture as a whole has come
Yeah.
a long way.
Yeah.
And I believe that the kind of influence and the kind of impact that African music is making now worldwide, it is a huge, lucrative business. But
Yeah.
I believe that it only makes sense if Africans are involved in the mix. And
Mm.
what I mean by that is that, okay, if you look at the kind of potential that's leaving Africa now worldwide in terms of the impact of the music, I think that Africans should be the one. I think, hold on.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at the worldwide influence we're making now, I think Africans should be involved in it. Like, for instance,
Yeah.
right? I'm just going to give you an example.
Okay.
I remember when the likes of DeVito, um, Burna Boy, D'banj, Two Face. When these people first came on the scene in the United States, everything was done through Nigerian promoters.
Mm.
And I feel that now that they're at the peak where we're beginning to get global attention, I don't think that we should be quick to be running to Onyibo people to do what we can do. There's nothing wrong. The progress is good. But in terms of keeping things tight knit within the community,
Yes.
progress has to be gradual where everybody comes along. So at this stage in 2020, we have enough Nigerian dancers, we have enough Nigerian DJs, we have enough Nigerian promoters, we have enough Nigerian musicians, we have enough Nigerian security. We have every aspect of show business we have in the Nigerian community.
Mm-hmm.
But I just feel that in order for everybody to win, everybody has to be involved.
Mm.
So you
Okay.
have the platform of
Yeah.
radio and media.
Yeah.
Other people have the platform of being an MC. Other people have the
Okay.
platform of being a DJ. Other people have the platform of being a promoter. So if everybody comes together, everybody
Yeah.
wins. As opposed to saying that, you know what, I'm going to bring Wizkid here and I'm going to take
Mhm.
Wizkid to Madison Square Garden and I'm going to cut out the whole African community.
Of course.
So then it's like
Mm.
we're putting money in these other people's pocket and we lose at the end of the day. To me, it makes no sense.
Okay. Let me shout out music by Serapho. That I know you know, that's family right there, man.
Yeah, from the
That's
UK.
yeah, that's family. So that's a very good point you brought up, and it was one of my questions, right?
Mm-hmm.
In terms of what you say, right? It's definitely one of the biggest changes that I've seen over the years. That we've gone from producing, promoting, marketing all our artists to
Mm-hmm.
now handing it over to like companies like Live Nation, right? And when I've had this discussion, I've talked with some promoters that are working with them. I've worked with Live Nation myself with Big
Yeah,
Moose.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying, and
I remember
stuff
with
like
the
that.
bunch. I remember.
Exactly, right. And then so we now say, right, one thing they have in place that we don't. They have structure.
Mm-hmm.
They have capital.
Mm-hmm.
They have the venues. Live
Mm-hmm.
Nation owns venues all over the world,
Mm-hmm.
right? In Europe and in Africa, and
Mm-hmm.
also a lot of our artists. What I've noticed personally, sometimes they don't want to be associated with anything African. For example, I have a platform, right? If an artist comes, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, I want to go do a radio show on Hot 97," simply because it's non-African. They feel, "Oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm going to reach a different audience." Meanwhile, when they do this show, the people that are packing the venues, they are Africans. They were, they you and I, they're this audience, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you, someone like this has been around here for years, right? 16 years in the business, right? Where have we gone wrong? That how come we don't have all these clubs? Even in New York, I can count on my fingers how many clubs, how many venues that we own. All we have is a bunch of restaurants. We don't own venues where you can do like a proper production and say, yo, that's All Beats venue. That venue, that's Big Moose venue. You know what I'm saying? Let us go there and do something.
You know what I think? I think that we went wrong when people started having misguided priorities. And I'm gonna say a couple of things that I feel could have been done to get us at a different point than where we are now.
Okay.
Okay, now when this whole promotion show business started, or let me say when it was moving along the way, I wanna give respect to Moose, because back then when there was nobody, that guy was consistently pushing shows at Amazura. And he wasn't just doing small shows, he was doing huge shows. What I feel could have been done then is that I think there should have been some kind of there should have been some kind of arrangement between the promoters and the artists, because all these artists in Nigeria that come here, they collect what they're going to collect, and they go back to Nigeria. But there's no structure here where they say that, okay, for every show that's done in New York, a percentage of that of the ticket sales or whatever will go into establishing an industry here in America. I think back then, what Moose could have been doing then, and other promoters, is they could have been saying that, okay, you know what? Besides the 10,000 or whatever you want us to give you, a percentage of whatever you make or whatever we make is going to be put to the side. So by the time you put together all that money, I believe that over the years, we've put too much money into Jewish establishments. When you look at a lot of shows that we've been doing, the way we be popping bottles, the way we do VIP, and I sit and I look at it like, look, we put in all this money in these people's pocket, but we don't matter to them. Let me tell you the honest truth, cause Live Nation or not, it is us that believe that Live Nation is doing us a favor. DeVito, Burna Boy, and Yemi Alade is just any other act to them.
To them, 100%. Yeah.
They don't like DeVito doesn't give them any fulfillment that they can't get from doing Jay-Z or from doing Nas or from doing Beyonce. So the fact that, if you notice, a lot of these Western acts are beginning to tap into Afro pop. That alone should let us know the power that we hold. Like, do you remember back like 10 years ago where there was this thing with BET where they used to give us awards backstage? And they never used to acknowledge us.
Yes, of course.
Okay, now at this point, we are at a point now where they're nominating our artists for Grammys. So that alone should let us know that, look, we need to go back to the drawing table. It's okay. It's okay to work with only both people, but then I feel that we shouldn't sell our birthright. It's like this. It's like in Nigeria, we own the oil. But then we let other foreigners come. They take the oil, right?
Yeah.
They repackage it and replenish it, and then send it back to us. Take a look at how many different acts, how many artists are coming out from Nigeria alone. You have Burna Boy, Tiwa Savage, Yemi Alade, DeVito. You have Wizkid. You have like at least 50 different acts.
I think Nigeria controls 75% of the Afrobeat movement.
Exactly. But then at the end of the day, like here in America, because let's look at it. When these artists need the crowd in order to be able to do these shows. But then the crowd also needs promoters that are on ground to be able to mobilize the people together.
Yeah.
So at this point, we need to sit down and actually know what we're doing. Like I said before, we have enough personnel in Nigerian. We have Nigerian lawyers that could do the visas. We have Nigerian promoters. The only thing we don't have is we don't have venues.
To your point, right? These artists, they actually charge the local promoters more than they take from Live Nation.
You know why they do that? They do that because you know why they do that? They do that because I think the whole approach is wrong. Promoters are not supposed to approach these artists that how much you want. I'll give you X amount of dollars. No. Promoters are supposed to promote them that look, I'm going to offer you a platform where we can get you a nice venue and you're going to get paid according to what the market here demands of. And I'm going to explain to you what I'm saying. I'm just going to use an example. If Wizkid is worth $50,000, right? You not just get up and tell them that, okay, Wizkid, I'm going to give you what you're worth.
Yeah.
You have to look at the market and say, if we give this guy $50,000, will enough people come out to buy enough tickets for us to make profit? You don't do shows just for doing sake. You do shows so you can present a good presentation, and at the end of the day, you have enough money left over to do another one.
Mm-hmm.
The whole point of show business is not to put money in the artist's pocket.
Yeah. So now, so that point, that's a great point, right? And right, a lot of the problem that we're seeing, right, is when an artist come into town or they negotiating, and a promoter offer them $30,000, right? And they say, okay, cool, we'll think about it. And then they call the next promoter, and that one offer them, 35,000. So for the artist, it's all about the highest bidder. They will keep going, and then for some promoters, they don't really care about the profit or making money, especially the young ones, the new ones that just want to make a name. They be like, oh, Big Moves or Fash, costs offering you 40,000. I'll give you $50,000. And that has happened so many times in New York. Yeah, and then you've been to shows, right? And then sometimes it's garbage, but the artists don't care because they collect their money, and the promoter is so broke he can't even pay the DJ. I've been to some of this event. The DJ is like about how far. There's no money. The artist has collected all the money. So how do we need to form a union? Because I feel like Timmy said unity is the thing with all your guests this week, 100%, right? I think it's so important. It's almost critical, because if we're not together, this is always going to happen.
Okay, you know what I believe? I believe if we could come up with a scheme of division of labor, and division of labor in the sense that, okay, Cause is good in the platform of offering media and radio promotion. That's what he should stick to. If Prince Demola is good in doing his parties, then we know that he's a party promoter. He shouldn't be getting visas for artists. He shouldn't be doing concerts.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm only mentioning names so we can understand where I'm coming from.
Yes.
If Duke is good in doing the whole Live Nation thing, then he should stick to that and not do anything else. Because one of the problems that we have is that we have too many people doing the same thing. So when you have so many people doing the same thing, it ends up becoming a flop. Between New York, New Jersey, and Philadelphia, we have almost 30 DJs. Now imagine when you have someone like DeVito coming over, and you pick 2 DJs to do that event. Now you have 28 DJs that are out of work.
Yeah.
And I think because sometimes the supply is more than the demand, that's what causes a lot of people to offer their services for free. Right now, we have 52 states in America. There's nothing wrong if Burna Boy is doing the East Coast, Yemi Alade is doing the West Coast, and you have the Wizkid doing the Mid Coast, and then they cross.
Yes.
So then that way, everyone has work to do. But if I want to be the one that gets the visa to bring the artist, you also getting the visa to bring the artist, everyone also is getting. If you have 5 people doing the same thing, this is what the artists capitalize on. Then they do highest bidder. Okay.
So he goes back to the unity aspect.
Exactly.
Right?
So
we have to be on the same page.
But the unity will only work if there's division of labor. If everyone is claiming that I'm the king of New York, or I'm the best DJ, or I'm the best promoter, it won't work.
I'm the #1 DJ, and
And I believe everybody has their strong points. Some people know how to promote better than other people. Some people know how to MC better than other people.
Of course.
Some people know how to anchor an event better than other people. Some people know how to sell tickets better than other people.
Yeah.
So if we identify what our strong points are and our weak points are, and we say, look, it's not about me showing the world that I'm a better promoter than you. It's about everybody winning. Let me give you an example. There was a problem that they had in the Nigerian community with the Nigerian Independence Day parade or whatever, the after party.
Yes, yes.
And I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, I've been to the parade many times. That is a good between 10,000 to 15,000 people in one location.
Yeah.
But why is it that you can't have that 10,000 to 15,000 people in one after party? Why do we need 8 different after parties? And this is what I'm saying, that if all the promoters come together,
Yes.
if all the promoters come together and they look and they say, look, you know what? Let's all get a huge venue and we all put our hands on the table. Let's all put our hands on the deck. You know what? Let's all of us promote this thing. Let's get the whole 20,000 people to come to this one party. So whatever the profits are, whatever the margin,
King Pro can say ego and pride is killing some promoters.
It's true. Yeah. Like as I am, I know that there's certain things I can do well and there's certain things I can't do.
Of course.
No matter how much I think I know, there's certain things I can't do. So it wouldn't make sense for me if I can do a show and I can call 2 other promoters that can assist me. It is a plus if I have more people than having someone else do a show on the same day as me. And it goes back to the unity that you're talking about.
Exactly.
Unity is important. It's important because team means together everyone achieves more, as opposed to us doing it individually and losing money.
Yeah, it's a tough one, and I strongly agree. And obviously, I've been involved with a lot of these things, and I just think I always tell people to look at it from this perspective, right? Shout out to back home, you know. And then it's like, if we can't even come together and have a structured event and, you know, just enjoyment, bringing, you know, things like this to our people, how can we even rule Nigeria and help to govern the country? If we can't, we're talking just events, enjoyments, right? So I look at it that it's so much more than just doing events and doing party. Being able, I tell a lot of people, all the promoters in New York, Jersey, everybody is welcome and invited to be part of the Nigerian Independence Day Parade. Planning body, ON organization, right? They can join this, and then work together. And even if it's not one party, one venue, they work together. We can say, oh, in Brooklyn, there's this venue. In the city, there's this, but it's one force, and everybody do it together.
Let me tell you, let me surprise you real quick. And I know a lot of people may not want to believe it, but I'll tell you. You see the one African festival that Polo is doing?
Yes.
I was the first one that he did in Barclays Center was needed as a wake-up call for everyone.
Yeah.
But you see, at that point, when he did the first one, I kid you not, I've seen events that single promoters done in New York that's gotten the same crowd that he gets at that amphitheater that he uses every year.
At the
in Coney Island.
Amphitheater.
Yeah.
Amphitheater, yeah.
If you look at it, right, he went from a venue that can hold maybe 15,000 to something that can hold 5,000.
Yes.
At this point, all respect to him. You get what I'm saying? But at this point, Prince Demola, Kaz, Duke, Moose, they're supposed to take that over a long time ago. In the sense that we shouldn't have to wait once a year before we can do something like that. That should be something that we can do at least twice in a year for the first 6 months and the last 6 months.
You know, I had Zimo here the other day, right?
Okay.
And Zimo was like, well, you know, New York lost it, right? And I'm like, why do you keep saying that? He said, because New York used to be that place where everybody would come. Jersey, Maryland, Pennsylvania, they come to New York. But to go back to what you're saying, there's events almost daily by different people, and people have friends, right? So if I have friends, I know Fash, I know Moose, I know Timmy, whatever, you know, I know Timmy, Bill. You guys are my peoples. If I'm having an event, maybe it's only 20 people there. You guys will be there because you're cool with me.
Exactly.
They will let me be having an event. He's called people that are with him. They will be there also. So it kind of divide, you know, it divides people.
You see, but you mentioned something right now.
Yeah.
You mentioned Demola has his core people, Duke has his core people, Kaz has his core people. But if you look at it, all the core people in question still come together to appreciate the same artist or the same concept.
100%.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is why I'm saying that at this point, we're supposed to be having festivals, because we at a point where we don't need someone to come every year from out of the country just to bring everybody together. We can do that ourselves.
Yes. You know, this is a good one here. Nobody wants to bring the money to make this happen. You know, Wale is here, right? And me and Wale, we're in a group with Moose also. It's a bunch of promoters, right? All over from here to California, right?
Okay.
You know, and then it's like, I always look at it like, I said to myself, how many of these guys can I call personally and say, guys, let's do this festival, right? I need 100,000 from you, or I need 150,000 from you, all together. Then we're gonna have like $500,000, and we're gonna make this happen, or even maybe like 20% of that, or $500,000, and then we'll go to the bank with a business plan to say this is our total budget. This is what we have. I say, how many of them can I call? You know, so go back to like say like One Africa, Polo. You know, when he came in, he had to make a statement because he's not from here. And he came in with the money. You know, he came in with the 16-wheeler. You guys are driving like sport cars. You know what I'm saying? And he went straight to the bar to create the name, to make everything stand out. And he did something that we has never done in the 20 years out here doing promotion and empowerment. He went overboard with radio promotion.
Yes.
So doing an event and, you know, the party hit the churches and the mosque, and it's cool. But when you hit the radio, even the Africans that typically don't go to the event, they will get to hear about it and they will come through.
But
it goes back to this.
Let me ask you something.
Money.
Let me ask you something. What you're saying makes sense. And like I said, the fact that Polo was able to do that, he made history. You understand? But then look at it this way. He went from Barclays Center that holds 15,000 people down to an amphitheater that holds 5,000 people. That alone said something. What that says is that he opened the eyes of everyone that, look, we can take Afrobeats so much higher. But then it still is a collective effort. Because how many years does Paulo want to be spending $200,000? Meanwhile, at the end of the day, after the $200,000 or whatever he's spending, we still don't have a venue. We still don't have a club.
Also, right, he was willing to lose every dime for a couple of years before he started making money. I don't know how many promoters ever say, yo, listen, this $50,000, you may not get $1 back after the event. You know, that means you may be losing your house. Your wife may be kicking you out. You know what I'm saying? Something, you know, so he came in with a different mindset. Like, listen, because I know this thing is not that popular here as much as it should be. But I'm willing to lose all this money. Hundreds of thousands of dollars.
You see, you guys, you still have to discuss with him that, look, Baba Polo, besides One Africa is only one day in a year. We still have a community here in New York that needs to get something popping all the time. If you could drop that kind of $500,000 for one day, give us help us with the kind of money where we could get a club, or we could get a venue, or we could get a concert venue that
and I think that's a good conversation. Yes.
So we could call that our own. So then we don't have to wait for you, Baba Polo, once in a year. We could be doing something every quarter, every 3 months. We could have a huge concert.
Yeah, because all these venues that we use, we're just making money for them.
Exactly.
We don't own these venues.
You see, let me tell you something, Kaz. You see, all these Italians and Jewish people that we think may have $1 million liquid cash, It
Yeah.
may just be that they have good credit.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have 3 guys that have good credit, that are willing to put their credit down, that look, you know what? We need a line of credit of maybe $2 million where we could pay a mortgage or whatever, at least
Yeah.
for us to hold down the venue, to have
Yeah.
something to own
And
something.
we have good credit. We have people in our community that can come through and jump on this because it's a business. It's still a business opportunity. You know,
Exactly.
every time I can, I go to Festa opportunity. I go to TG.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's like really just to support.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, let me just go over there and buy food. Sometimes I hit up them like, Alpha, are you at Festa? This is there. I just roll in. Sometimes I just call Moose last minute. Yo, what's going on, bro? We just go there and pull up, buy some things, whatever, just to support. But I think that bigger question, we still have to invest, whether it's New York or in California, we still have to hone these venues. That's what the Jewish, the Nigerians, we do weddings every weekend in New York. Which venues are we using? The Jewish venues, right? The weddings, they're spending just as much, if not more than what we spend on these shows sometimes, right? So we still have to hone the venues. I want to be able to like, oh, we're doing the parade, or I got David coming, Mike Fash, your sound, everything is set up here. We're picking and choosing. You know what I'm saying? I'm supposed to look in here, look in there. So, I mean,
You know what? You know what? I think this, besides anything else, I think this whole coronavirus period is a time for everyone to go back and reflect that, you know what?
yes,
When we're gonna come back on board, when we're gonna come back out there, we gotta come back out there correct. And
absolutely.
I think from now, this 2020, anyone who wants to do a show or wants to do a tour, you guys still have to come together. You guys have to sit down and look. Any artist that wants to come here and wants to make money, they have to have some kind of investment that they investing back into the industry here in this country. So
yes,
it
the
doesn't.
same way we have to pay tax.
Yeah.
They should
So
drop some.
it doesn't make sense when you have an artist come in and he says, you know what, I'm charging, because the kind of money that these Afrobeat guys make is crazy. So you have a given artist come and say, I want $20,000 a show. He does 20 shows. That's 400. That's almost $500,000.
Oh hell yeah!
Out of that $500,000, if 25%, if 25% could be like, you know what, out of this 400,000, I'm gonna drop 100,000 just for the industry in New York. So then, if you have 3 or 4 different tours successfully that can rake in that kind of money, by the time you do it 4 or 5 times, that's $500,000 right there. If you walk to any bank with $500,000 in your hand, they're gonna listen to you.
Yes.
So enough of us bringing these artists here that are raping us, that are making our money and running away. Not only that, when these artists come and do their shows are not even on point. Why would you pay your artist $20,000 to come and mime? He doesn't even have.
And sometimes they get on stage and do like 10, 15 minutes. And Anderson, right, Big A, was saying how one artist, he had to drag him back on stage. Like, no, listen, you're not done, because he did like 20 minutes, and people pay $40 for a 20 minutes event.
One thing that I know is that if we get our own venue, if we get our own venue, right? You see all those G guys that come and pop bottles in those Jewish establishments. If a Nigerian comes to his own establishment and know that, you know what, I don't have to worry about anyone coming after me, or I don't have to worry about anything, they will spend more money within their own.
Out there, 100%.
So 2 things.
100%.
2 things. Our goal now is to try to bring unity between all the promoters so we can work as one force.
Yeah.
Our second goal is for us to try and at least hold down real estate, to hold down a venue, because, okay, in every community, you have about 50 churches and no venue. People got to go do weddings. They got to pay $15,000 to go do a wedding. And if you have 10 weddings in 1 year, and each of them are paying $15,000, that's $150K that's going out and not coming back in.
Oyeni Brand said an association would help, right? Go Broncos said none of them can do live shows. YB said it's impossible. I mean, I think this is a great point. And Bintu said earlier that, I hope this is not just a conversation. I think this is a reset button for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if anything comes out of this, what I would like to see happen is to sit down with a lot of these people that we've talked about, including myself, and to have some serious conversation offline in terms of how we move forward.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's so important. I think everyone that I've spoken to has agreed. I've had Duke on here, I've had
Mm-hmm.
Stanley here, I've had Demola here, and
Mm-hmm.
so many people. And every single person I've talked about that. Like, it's so important to have some kind of understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that will come in the form of association, like
Mm-hmm.
Oyeni Brand said, or another form. But there has to be that conversation. All right. So I have 2 minutes left, and then because I have Senzu coming up after you. But for somebody that wants to come into the business today, right? What advice would you give them?
Or coming to the business in what aspect?
Oh, you want to come in as a DJ, promoter, sound engineer, or just do events?
I think in order for if anyone wants to come into the industry, they should first look at what the industry is lacking and come in from a point of creativity. They shouldn't come in and copy or do the same thing that we already have, which is what I mentioned before.
Mm-hmm.
We already have enough DJs. So look for a gap or a void, or look for some kind of space that is not being taken, that's not filled up, and fill in that
Mm-hmm.
gap.
Hmm.
We don't need more supply than the demand. We need to be able to fill up the demand with the gaps that are not filled up yet.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. All right, cool. I mean, it's a lot of great points. The conversation definitely to be continued.
Mm-hmm.
I think we'll definitely come back on another time and
Mm-hmm.
have this conversation, right? So yeah, I'm gonna do my little quiz with you. So I hope you're ready.
Okay.
New York or Lagos?
In terms of what?
Just preference.
Me personally?
You personally, yes.
I love Lagos too.
Shout out to Mike Dada, man. All right. Hollywood or Nollywood movies?
Oh, Nollywood.
Nollywood.
Definitely.
Spirituality or religion?
Spirituality all the way.
Okay. King Sunny Ade or Ebenezer Obey?
Ebenezer Obey.
Facebook or Instagram?
Oh, wow. Instagram is the thing of today. That's the thing of now. That's the thing of this generation and the next generation.
But I feel like I see you being more active on Facebook than Instagram.
Yeah, because I have more of an intimate following on Facebook than Instagram. I'm just building my Instagram up. But a lot of my crowd on Facebook are intimate.
Okay. Vinyl records or MP3s?
Oh, wow. I'm from old school. Vinyl records.
In women, makeup or natural?
All natural.
All natural. All right. Apple or Android phones?
I have Apple.
Timmy, you heard that, right? This is the Apple moment. So, egusi or draw soup?
Egusi.
Western or traditional outfits?
Oh, traditional. Traditional.
Right. That's
Traditional.
Best advice you've ever been given?
Always go all the way, and you will never know how great you become until you tap into that greatness.
Amazing. I hope people learn a lot from this. I definitely did. And I think so much can be done just starting, with this conversation. Thank you. Shout out to everyone that tuned in, man. Ade, Mike Dada, Prince, Music by Sarah. For everybody, this is our industry, and I'm looking forward to building and, making this happen. Thank you so much.
I want to say something too. Like, I really appreciate and commend you on what you're doing, because this alone, a platform for Nigerians to be able to share ideas and for them to be able to build is a real good thing. It's a real good thing, and I want you to continue doing it.
Yeah,
If
thank
it's
you so much.
possible, try to further it through radio and other platforms. Don't just stick with
Make it.
IG alone. But
Absolutely.
I appreciate the opportunity given me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I'm glad we made this happen. Greatness to come. Thank you, my brother.